All right, everybody, welcome to yet another week of the Doe and 5-0 show. How's your week been going so far there, Joe? Excellent, glad to hear it. We're going to go ahead and start things out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, where a man robbed a Kalamazoo bank and then proceeded to spend $2,000 cash at the local strip club.
I knew a dumbass from Kalamazoo.
Investigators say a man admitted to spending about $2,000 cash he stole from a Kalamazoo bank at a strip club in the area. The robbery happened last Wednesday evening at the Chase Bank on Michigan Avenue. Police say Daniel Solis entered the bank, demanded money from the teller, and took off with about $7,000 in cash. He was later arrested on Thursday. According to the court documents, Solis told Kalamazoo PD that he robbed a bank and then spent $2,000 at Angel's Strip Club in Kalamazoo.
Wait, he stayed in the same city?
He had money to spend.
That's great. That's great.
When officers searched his home, they found clothing worn during the robbery, the notepad used to write the demand note.
He kept all that stuff.
Well, he also left the notepad used to write the demand note and the vehicle that he drove to drive away in his garage. He is currently facing 1 count of bank robbery.
Is he a native Michigan?
I guess.
I'm wondering if he's not from Florida. Because that seems like something where he'd have been naked robbing the bank if he was in Florida.
Yeah. Out of Nashville, Tennessee, 24-year-old woman is arrested on January 1st after biting and scratching her boyfriend during sex, causing him to call the police.
He called the police?
Kristen Paris allegedly bit her boyfriend on the arm and back and also scratched him several times on the back. The boyfriend said Paris began to bite and scratch him while or slightly before they began to have some intimate activities.
Wait, slightly before? Stop! What the hell's wrong with you?
There was no safe word involved here. The boyfriend said it was beyond the scope of their normal intimate activities. Tennessee law enforcement officers are required by law to arrest somebody if police are called to a domestic violence scene that there is probable cause that an assault had occurred. Officers noted that the victim had several scratches on his back and 2 bite marks. The officers determined that there was probable cause to go ahead and arrest Paris. The victim also told police that his girlfriend punched him several times about 3 weeks earlier, but he never called the police then. Paris was charged with domestic assault, which is a misdemeanor in the state of Tennessee. She was held at the Davidson County Jail and freed on a $500 bond. Sounds like it was just a good time to me. I mean,
sounds like foreplay. I don't think I've ever dated a woman who could kick my ass. I choose them on purpose like that, so they can't hurt me.
I mean, personally, I would have been too embarrassed to call the police for something like that.
My girlfriend beat me up. You are a weak person.
Joe loves dogs. He's got a little pooch of his own, little Max.
I do love
Max
my
has
puppy.
made an appearance on the show a time or two before.
Yes.
You can now buy a dog collar that will swear every time your dog barks.
Now, we all talk for our dogs, don't we? Because we know what our dogs are thinking. So every time I walk in the house, he swears at me, "You stupid." And so that's great. Okay, so can you get a different kind of voice?
I don't know. Let's see here. For every treat your good boy deserved but didn't get, for every itch that you didn't scratch, your dog can now vent out all of his frustrations in the form of cuss words. For a bargain price of $60, the CUSS collar, which fastens around your doggy's neck, will spit out a swear word every time your dog barks. It's currently sold out online at all retailers. It does have pre-recorded words, including bullshit, the F-bomb, and words of the such. The product's website states that the product isn't a shock, vibration, or training collar, and it is not intended for anti-bark training use. It's more of a gag gift that the company called Behind the Collar. The company behind the CUSS collar is the master of releasing products that nobody really needs, but everybody, that's something everybody always wants. The CUSS collar.
I like that. Should get one for I better not say it.
Woman sent to 3 years after trying to hide drugs and poop inside of a cop car.
They'll never find it here.
Out of Corsicana, Texas, a Texas woman who pooped in the backseat of a police car to give herself something to hide her drugs in has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. The incident occurred after 32-year-old Shannon Martin was caught shoplifting at an H-E-B drug grocery store back in February. Officers responded to the scene tried to take Martin into custody, but she resisted arrest. She was ultimately handcuffed and put in the back seat of a police vehicle, but she wasn't searched very thoroughly by the officers who arrested her. Once she was left alone inside the squad car, she went to work, hiding her contraband items. Police say Martin defecated and then proceeded to hide 2.3 grams of crack cocaine, a crack pipe, and a Valentine's Day card inside of her feces.
That's a lot of poop. She got all that stuff? So how did she do that? So she was handcuffed behind her back, right? So
One would assume, yes.
So she poops in her pants and she has to reach back there and put all that stuff in her poop. Of course, when she brings her hand, no, she doesn't. She has them all, but now everything's full of shit.
Yeah.
She's like a genius. Go ahead.
Police found the drugs and card while they were booking her in at the county jail. She was charged with tampering with evidence and possession of a controlled substance. She was also charged with injury to a disabled person stemming from an incident when she had maced a family member. Martin pled guilty to all 3 charges and was granted probation instead of prison time, contested on hearing on punishment. Back in September of last year, the Navajo County Commission Community Supervision Department filed to revoke her probation due to multiple violations of her parole conditions. She pled guilty to all of the probation violations in exchange for an agreement upon the 3-year prison sentence. There's no word on what she consumed prior to this, whether it be Taco Bell, White Castle, or Kentucky Fried Chicken, that would cause such a large amount of feces.
We really need to do a skit on this one. I'll put a wig on and you can handcuff me. That's really funny.
I don't want to do a skit.
Well, I wasn't really going to poop.
Man destroys would-be thief with a shopping cart in a Walmart parking lot.
Oh, yes.
A vigilante shopper stopped a thief in his tracks by rolling his cart directly into the robber as he ran through a Walmart parking lot in Georgia. The Good Samaritan can be seen on surveillance video obtained by Fox 5 in Atlanta as he launches his shopping cart straight into the path of the shoplifter, causing the man to tumble to the ground. We'll have the video up there for you guys to see.
It's a great video.
He was able to take him into custody without injuring anyone. Others in the parking lot helped the shopper put the items back into his cart after the capture. The suspect, 41-year-old Marcus Smith, was charged with felony shoplifting and obstruction. Peachtree police warned citizens about taking criminal matters into their own hands. Don't do anything you aren't comfortable with or that would put you or others in harm's way.
Well, I bet that guy Jason was pretty grateful. Did you watch that video? Really? Because he throws it and he goes like this.
Touchdown!
It was such a nice shot. It's like he'd done it before.
McDonald's McDonald's restaurants in Japan, Joe, they're announcing an adult cream pie dessert.
I don't think that's good. I don't know.
Well, the phrase "lost in translation" is the most suitable way to explain McDonald's new food line set to launch in Japan this week. For limited time only, adult cream pies has raised some eyebrows ever since the new product line was announced earlier in the month.
You can't sell that at McDonald's.
Well, if you're unfamiliar with what the much more adult, seedier type of cream pie is and you're just feeling curious, check out the definition at urbandictionary.com. From this Wednesday, customers in Japan will be able to get their hands on 2 types of cream pies. They'll set the diners back 150 yen, which translates to about $1.35 in US dollars. The first one consists of crispy pie dough kneaded with cocoa powder and is packed with chocolate cream using Belgian chocolate. McDonald's website describes it as a cream pie that fills the hearts of adults with a balance of chocolate sweetness and bitterness. The second pie is a little bit saltier and packed with cheese instead of chocolate.
Just stop. That's just disgusting.
Is it Fermunda cheese? I'm not going to go over any more of this, but
no, this is bad.
I think that their PR department in Japan needs a little work.
I'd like me some meat pie. You want chocolate?
Man caught filling hotel bathtub up with potatoes while wearing a bra and high. When Judge Peter Henry asked James Johnson why he's filling up a bathtub with potatoes, he said he felt like it was the right thing to do at the time.
I'm sure. That's never come across your mind, and when you're filling a bathtub, say, you know what this really needs.
Johnson, age 30, was caught by officers wearing a woman's bra over his shirt and carrying a bag of spuds as he entered the travel lodge. Officer searched his room and found in what they described as an Aladdin's cave full of drugs, including ecstasy and other psychoactive type drugs. Southampton Crown Court heard Johnson and two friends had decided to go on a one-night binge, which ended up lasting 5 days.
Wow.
James Kellum, the prosecuting attorney, told a court hotel staff had phoned the police after smelling cannabis in the room. According to the local news, Mr. Kellum said they saw Johnson with a bag of potatoes and in women's clothing. They believe this is what led officers to believe that he might possibly be intoxicated.
Wow, that's some pretty good detective work there, isn't it?
He had brought the drugs on the dark web for around $750, but a drug expert found the true value of the drugs to be more like around $300.
This was just a bad day for these people, or bad 5 days for these people.
Ultimately, Davey said that Johnson was remorseful and he was actually an intelligent man who just made a poor mistake. The judge in the case said it was odd and bizarre and sentenced Johnson to 18 months of community service with the requirement to carry out a 9-month drug rehab program.
He just go, I'm sorry. Was he still wearing the bra, do you think? Would you like a potato?
Yeah. Steer clear of that bathtub and those potatoes. Fast food employee fired for being filmed after taking a bath in a restaurant sink.
This is not the first time we've come across something like this.
No, we've seen this before.
Yes.
Fast food chain employee has been fired after he's caught on camera taking a bath in the restaurant's industrial kitchen sink. The footage was originally posted to TikTok, a social media app, before also being shared on Facebook, where it's since been viewed over 38,000 times. The person who posted the clip on Facebook wrote, "So yeah, I'm just going to tell everyone right now, do not go to the Greenville Wendy's." At the time of this report, they were unable to confirm.
He seems very happy.
If this was an employee or an employee's buddy or what the... Wendy's is currently investigating the matter.
They should look into that. Well, yeah.
Stripper Jania Sky's accident causes OSHA to mandate all strippers to wear safety helmets.
What? Oh, this is the chick that fell off 15-foot pole or something?
Out of Dallas, Texas, OSHA is currently in the works of drafting up policies that will require strippers to wear safety helmets when performing routines on poles that are taller than 6 feet. Exotic dancer Gina Sky recently went viral after a video footage was captured showing her falling from a 20-foot pole while dancing in a strip club in Dallas. According to the Honey Badger's tweet, "Yes, I fell off the pole. Yes, I fractured my jaw. No, I'm not effing okay. And there's absolutely nothing funny about the situation.
It's hysterical.
This is the worst pain I've ever felt, and I would not wish it upon anyone." So let's go ahead and load up the video.
She can sure run
here.
her mouth with a broken jaw, can't she?
Yeah. Go ahead and load that up for everybody.
Whoa! Whoa!
And it looks like she's still twerking down here a little bit.
No, I think that's the other one, isn't it?
Was it?
Oh, yeah, that's her.
Boom, boom. Maybe nobody saw. That's what she's thinking.
It's part of the act. It's part of the act. Well,
due to this video being seen more than 4 million times,
wow.
In conjunction with the Jania Sky asking for a $20,000 GoFundMe campaign to help with her medical issues.
They don't provide medical insurance for that job?
Hard to believe.
Huh.
OSHA has decided to step in and require that strip club owners must mandate that all exotic dancers are to wear safety helmets to prevent future accidents that could cause injury to one's face and or head.
To your face, too. So that's not like a bicycle helmet. You're going to have a full mask. Like a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah.
Sexy!
Oh, God. All right. Well, that's all we got for the news this week. Stay tuned for This Week in Florida.
She was promised a 5 and some Pringles for sexual act involving her lips. It's well and good to give her a $5, but there's no way that I'd part with my chips. What the hell is with Florida, where all crazy shit seems to come from? A week won't pass by without lots of stories
proving that Florida's dumb.
All right, everybody, welcome to This Week in Florida. We're going to start things out of Tallahassee, Joe, where a Florida man rips a urinal from a wall and then proceeds to run naked into the nearby woods. Police are looking for a man who they say ripped a urinal.
They couldn't find him.
They're looking for a man who they said ripped a urinal off the bathroom wall at Miller's Ale House and then ran naked into the woods. On Monday night, the staff of the sports bar on
Why was he naked
Parkway,
in the sports bar?
This particular Florida man was about 20 years old. He went into the bathroom around 11 p.m., and when he came out, he was soaking wet. Dripping with water, the crazed Florida man ran from the building north through the parking lot while tearing his clothes off, so he wasn't actually naked inside.
Okay. Yeah.
Employees said the man, by the time that he disappeared into the woods, he was completely naked. Even more bizarre, his clothes were never found. The cops were given surveillance video, which they hope will be released soon because this case is no longer under investigation. If you have any if you've seen naked Florida man recently, you can.
Oh yes, that narrows it down. That narrows it
How
down.
the hell did he rip a urinal off the wall? That's what I want to know.
Well, and
Wow.
they couldn't find him. They couldn't find his clothes. They need that crack detective that figured out that other guy was
He's
on
Inspector
drugs.
Gadget out of London. Yeah. Florida man, age 23, arrested for fried chicken attack on his girlfriend.
More with the food. What?
During an argument with his girlfriend, a Florida man allegedly threw a piece of fried chicken at the woman, striking her in the face with the poultry and triggering his arrest for domestic battery. Juwan Brown, age 23, was busted Wednesday evening after a dispute with his live-in girlfriend turned violent. The 6'2", 220-pound Brown stepped on the woman's foot. He threw a piece of chicken at the victim, striking her on the left side of her face and her glasses. Brown, as we're going to picture above here, was subsequently arrested by a sheriff's deputy and booked into the county jail. Free on a $5,000 bond, Brown has been ordered by a judge to have no contact with the victim.
He stepped on her foot on purpose,
I guess.
or just?
Why did
I
he
don't
waste
know.
chicken? Was it not good?
I don't know. If you're
They waste more food in Florida.
They do. 6'2", 220. If he's mad at me and he only threw chicken at me, I'd be grateful. Have to wear a helmet.
Florida man upset over 2-hour ED wait steals ambulance to a drive home.
ED.
Emergency department.
Oh, that's a lot different than
Sick.
where I was going with
He's
it.
sick.
What?
Florida man stole an ambulance from the Villages Florida Regional Hospital Tuesday night to drive home after an enduring 2-hour wait at the hospital's emergency room. First responders took Danny Buttafuoco to the hospital earlier in the day after a neighbor called 911 saying the man was drunk and suicidal. Mr. Buttafuoco told police he grew frustrated after waiting 2 hours in the emergency room to see a physician, and he decided to drive an ambulance home to his home 5.7 miles away. He allegedly parked the ambulance in his neighbor's driveway instead of his own because he believed they were the ones who called the cops on him to begin with. Investigators found Mr. Buttafuoco hiding in the trunk of his car in his garage upon their arrival.
That doesn't seem safe.
Mr. Buttafuoco was arrested, and a judge deemed him ineligible for bond since he is still on probation for a drunk driving charge from last year. No word if the neighbors got into any trouble for having that ambulance in their driveway.
Is it really that easy to just get into an ambulance and drive away?
Apparently.
Wow, I wouldn't think that. I would think they'd be a little more secure than that. But I guess if they're ready to go all the time,
Yeah.
you don't want to. Oh my God, someone's having a heart attack. You got the keys? I don't have the keys either. Shit. I think I left them at Taco Bell.
Central Florida man looking for an auto parts store gets directions to jail instead. Out of Summerfield, Florida, a 63-year-old Kissimmee man who stopped a sheriff's deputy to ask how to get to the local auto parts store on Saturday night instead got directions to jail when the deputy arrested him on a DUI and cocaine possession charges. Juwan Zamora was driving near Ocala when he flashed his headlights at a Marion County Sheriff's deputy squad car, according to the arrest report. Deputy Calvin Batts pulled over and Zamora asked him for directions to the auto parts store.
He was drunk and had coke, and he asked the policeman for directions.
Batts wrote in the report that he could smell alcohol and observe Zamora's bloodshot and watery eyes. The deputy also noted that Zamora was unsteady on his feet. Zamora told the deputy he had 2 shots of bourbon hours earlier in the day. He also said he was legally disabled but agreed to take a sobriety test anyway. The deputy wrote that Zamora had difficulty with all the sobriety tests, which he blamed on his disability.
What's his disability?
I don't know. Freaking pop-ups. Batts wrote that he found a small bag with a powdery substance in Zamora's shirt pocket that Field tested positive for cocaine. Zamora initially declined a breath test, telling the deputy, "You didn't pull me over, I pulled you over." He later took the test, which registered his blood alcohol levels of .13 and .136, which are higher than the .8, which is considered legally impaired in Florida. The arrest report said Batts found a bottle of whiskey in the car. Zamora was traveling with a 15-year-old passenger. He is currently in jail, which is where he will likely remain until his March 10th court date. Here comes Joe's musical masterpiece for this week. Police say a woman was shot after performing a sex act in exchange for $5 and some Pringles. They like their sex and food in Florida.
They do. It's a lot of nakedness and...
Out of Jacksonville, Florida, a woman in Florida told police she'd been shot outside of the gas station she performed a sex act in exchange for some money and a can of Pringles. According to WJXT News, police were called to the Shell gas station in Jacksonville, Florida Monday afternoon because a person had been shot. Officers who arrived at the scene found the woman with a gunshot wound to her shoulder. The woman was taken to the hospital to be treated for her injuries. According to the news, they said the woman told investigators she agreed to perform a sex act with the man in exchange for $5 and a can of Pringles. The woman said after the act, the man demanded the $5 back and shot at her when she refused. Police said the man took off running after shooting her. They're currently searching for the suspect.
She had his name. It was John.
Yeah. He wanted the $5, but not the Pringles. Personally, I would have rather had.
I would rather have the Pringles. We talked about this earlier, and like I said, I believe so. This is a younger guy, I think, because I think as you age, you get more possessive of your food. Yeah, here's the $5, but back my fucking Pringles.
All right, that's all we got for this week in Florida. Stay tuned for This Week Political Garbage.
Yay!
All right, everybody, welcome to This Week in Political Garbage. We're going to start off this week, Joe.
You political Joe, you were going to say.
Where Bernie Sanders interrupted by topless protesters at his Nevada rally. A group of topless protesters stormed a Bernie Sanders rally in Nevada Sunday afternoon, throwing paint, fake blood, and water on the podium before security whisked them away. Senator Sanders, speaking at a rally in Carson City, had just finished introducing his wife as the next First Lady when a woman ran up to the podium trying to grab Sanders' mic. A visibly irritated Sanders yanked the microphone away. The woman then grabbed another mic on the podium. Bernie, I'm your biggest supporter, and I'm here to ask you to stop propping up the dairy industry and stop propping up animal agriculture. I believe in you, the woman said before her mic was cut out. Sanders exited the stage as the chaotic scene continued to unfold. Several other women, at least two of them who were topless, joined the first woman on the stage. The group threw out various liquids on the podium and around the stage before security intervened. The crowd then began to start chanting, Bernie, Bernie. Sanders reappeared before the podium, quipping, this is Nevada, there's always a little bit of excitement. 3 women were arrested after the incident for indecent exposure. Strangely enough, Joe, this isn't the first time a topless protester made an appearance at a Bernie Sanders rally. During his 2016 presidential campaign, 2 topless women were arrested outside of a venue in Los Angeles for taking off pasties that read, Feel the Burn.
I don't. Why?
I don't know. They're upset about some policy apparently he has about the dairy.
Why are they naked?
I don't know. It wasn't in Florida, so I can't wrap my head. It was in Nevada, so I mean that's probably a close second.
Yeah, I guess they need to make that a little more publicized. I guess I don't know why they're naked.
We don't have anything to argue about it. I just thought it was a funny story. So I thought we'd Alabama bill would force men to get a vasectomy at age 50, Joe. Out of Montgomery, Alabama, an Alabama state representative has proposed a bill that would require a man to undergo a vasectomy at age 50 or after he has fathered a specific number of children. Bill HB 238, filed by Rolanda Harris, a Democrat out of Birmingham, would require a man to undergo a vasectomy after the birth of his 3rd child or within a month of his 50th birthday. The bill also says the procedure would be done at the man's own expense. Under existing law, there are no restrictions on the reproductive rights of men.
This doesn't seem like a very Democrat thing.
Yeah, the bill was introduced to the House on Thursday and referred to the House Judiciary Committee. We have reached out to Hollis for more comments about the bill. The bill was filed the same day as Bill HB 248, also known as the Born Alive Bill, which was reintroduced at the House. That bill would require a physician to exercise reasonable care to save a child born alive after an abortion or an attempted abortion attempt.
I like that.
So I saw this headline a couple days ago, and of course it started firing up the people that were, it's a very passionate topic, the pro-life, and as opposed to the people that are believing it's a woman's choice to get rid of a child, even if it's full term, right?
Yeah.
So they're comparing this to being the same type of thing.
The vasectomy?
Yeah.
What? Wait. Why? There's no extra life involved.
Yeah. So, how are you going to say this is very socialist here? This is very Nazi Germany. I mean, there's countries on the planet that actually do have population control.
Right.
Right.
China.
And China's one.
Yeah, I thought they did.
And
I'm not familiar exactly with what.
yeah, I can't speak on it because I remember reading about it years ago. But
Right.
I don't see how you can say that at the age of 50, if you have had your third child, you will get a vasectomy, and then you have to pay for it to boot.
I don't think that I agree. This is going to start a shit show. What if? Oh, people are going to hate me for saying this. I'm saying it kind of tongue in cheek, but so let's say you fathered so many children and you're not supporting them.
Mm-hmm.
Snip.
Yeah.
It's not just that you don't have the means of doing it. You're never going to have the means of doing it because you're a train wreck. Snip.
Yeah.
I think that every father out there that is nothing but a sperm donor, not going to take care of your own kid, not going to snip.
I mean, that could go both ways, right? You could say that about, and you see it everywhere you go. It doesn't matter what type of town you live in, what state you live in.
Right.
You see it out of both men and women.
Yeah.
Where
it's
guys
just easier for guys to get snipped than to
yeah,
do
it
it with
is.
a girl.
But,
So
when you have Joe Blow over here who's got 5 kids by 5 different moms, and then you've got Silly Sally over here who's got 10 kids by 10 different daddies,
Joe Blow and Silly Sally.
Yeah. I could say something a lot meaner. But something
if
should
Joe
give there
would
because the
yeah,
taxpayers have to take care of that, and then you get the Department of Child Services involved, and
Well, I
and they
don't.
get
Not
placed
even
into
the
foster
money
homes,
part.
so-
You can't take care of children that you fathered.
right.
If you're not going to be a father, and I'll say this again, you need a mom and a dad. You need both.
Yeah.
And no, I don't know. I don't like the way she said it, but hell, I've talked about that for years. And it's not because I'm trying to control population. I'm trying to control terrible parents.
Yeah. Moving on, protesters wreck college Republicans' info table, spit
Wait.
on the U.S. flag.
Did you hear that? Our followers dropping.
Yeah. At UC Santa Cruz. In the latest act of violence against conservatives, protesters at the University of California at Santa Cruz recently smashed a college Republicans' information table.
Yeah, how stupid.
A video posted on social media shows 2 protesters tearing up placards and ripping down signage, with one of them appearing to spit on a 13-star Betsy Ross American flag that's seen lying on the ground. I think this guy's trying to assault me, one protester says, laughing as someone tries to grab an American flag away from him. The man attempted to take back the flag, and it later falls to the ground during the struggle. We're going to go ahead and try and get this video to load up here for you guys to take a look at.
I can't even watch it. It makes me so mad.
This guy's trying to assault me.
Is that a guy or a girl?
Speaking of population control,
Yes.
Hey, fuck this shit.
I think those are girls.
Get alive.
Oh my
honestly.
gosh.
You get alive.
No. Hey, get on camera.
You're on camera. Smile. Report to police department.
You know, if Republicans did that to Democrats,
Oh, yeah.
there'd be a shitstorm going on.
but they're the most tolerant party. on
Oh,
the planet.
yes,
Most
very
tolerant.
much so. Everyone's bad. This is terrible. Did you find out if they're doing anything to those kids?
The article did not say what the university is or is not doing to those students. So hopefully they're being disciplined in some way. I'd personally throw their ass right out of my school for acting that way, but
They won't, though.
it's California, so.
Yeah.
A Florida man who spat on a fellow bar patron wearing a Make America Great Again hat was sentenced to 90 days in jail and 1 year of supervised probation. Matthias, how the hell do you say that last name? Ejapel?
His name is
Ejapel?
Matthias.
We'll just call him Matthias.
I can see why he's angry.
Matthias, aged 43, entered a no-contest plea Thursday, and Judge David Morgan found Matthias guilty of battery. Surveillance footage of the incident shows Matthias approaching Robert Youngblood, age 67, at a bar in Vero Beach.
Oh my gosh, a 67-year-old man?
Yeah, he placed a paper towel on Youngblood's head to cover up the Make America Great Again lettering on the hat and slapped the bill of the hat before telling him to go back to Russia, you effing communist.
Wait a minute. But Trump is the opposite.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Matthias then spat on Youngblood and left the bar, according to the Indian River County Sheriff's Office arrest affidavit. Youngblood took down Matthias' license plate and gave it to the police. Matthias told police when they arrested him, "I was just trying to protect you guys because I support law enforcement. Trump supporters are communist and racist."
But Trump supports the police department.
Yeah. Much
That
unlike
guy
his
is a little
predecessor.
jacked up, isn't he?
I don't even care that I'm going to jail. This is actually exciting, he says. Plus, I have more time on this earth than that guy does anyway. He probably feels so good about himself. Matthias must also pay $155 to Youngblood, pay for all the necessary court costs, and avoid contact with him, according to his sentencing.
I hope they put him in a special cell.
Well, that's all we got for this week in political garbage. You got anything else you want to touch on before we wrap things up this week?
No,
Nope.
no.
He never does.
I have a lot to say. I just don't think I can say most of it.
Well, every week we've got these stories about the tolerant left not being so tolerant. I mean, it speaks for itself. And I'm not saying that there's not, excuse me, people from the Republican side of things that don't act like assholes,
absolutely.
because there are.
Yes, absolutely.
But I mean, this stuff just pops up all the time, and a lot of it is younger people, which is really scary because they're the ones that are supposed to be leading the country moving forward. And it's really scary. And I know the generations before us thought, oh my God, we're never going to be able to retire because these younger kids are never going to be able to maintain the country.
It's happened all before, though. I'm
Yeah.
still telling you, the kids in the 60s and the 70s were exactly the same way.
Yeah,
They're the ones. That's Bernie Sanders, actually.
yeah. All right, well, that's all we got for this week in political garbage. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Should I close those curtains so our fans don't see us?
Oh, for the love of all that is holy.
Thank goodness we don't do this live very much.
Yeah. That was a hell of a fall. And then she started shaking her ass.
She did. Right on her face.
Okay. All right, everybody, welcome to This Week in Florida.
I wish I'd have brought my motorcycle helmet. I'm a stripper. Pringles and a 5 were promised a woman for sexual act we assume was a blow. But when she finished, he promptly shot her. I figured 'cause she didn't swallow.